I love you. Was it the case that the English teachers at school and college were all young, pretty, and stylish, not unlike the other teachers? Or am I the only lucky one? I want to retell a story I heard from one such beauty when I was refreshing my English skills. Already in the language school. Ella Arkadievna is a sultry brunette in her 30s. To my inexperienced eye, she has it all, just like Chekhov. In addition to moonlighting in private cheekbones, she had a permanent place of employment in a public school. In this educational institution she began to work in September as a teacher of English. And after literally 2 weeks of teaching she found a mysterious admirer. Before each lesson one of the students of the 10th grade put a small heart cut out of coated paper into the class journal, resembling a Valentine's card. On one side of this heart was carefully painted by an unknown admirer with roses and other buttercup flowers, and on the other side there was an inscription, "I love you." Probably so that the English teacher could get the meaning of the phrase quicker. Ella even asked the class a few times who is the enigmatic Romeo? But no one confessed. And students only teased each other and laughed. No matter how much the Englishwoman looked into the eyes of the boys, she could not solve the riddle. The 10th graders themselves, apparently, did not know who this romantic in love, which started in their ranks, and he did not stop. Some mysterious way he kept putting his painted hearts with the invariable inscription, "I love you" in the magazine. How he managed to do this uninterruptedly and secretly Ella Arkadievna could not comprehend it. Gradually she got used to the fact that when she opened the school magazine in 10B, she would stumble upon another romantic heart-shaped message. And she took it for granted. Let the boy sigh, it was no loss to him. And she, moreover, was no stranger to it. In her 30s she had seen what admirers she had not. Imperceptibly the second quarter came to an end. Schoolchildren went on winter vacation. And the teachers went with them. It so happened that the new year was celebrated by Ella Arkadievna and her husband in a small family circle, contrary to tradition. They went to bed almost immediately after midnight. But just an hour or two later the woman woke up with a strange sensation. It seemed like a fly was crawling up her leg from her knee up the inside of her thigh. Or some kind of insect, tickling her with its paws. Awake, listening to the tickling touch, Ella could not understand what is it. January month, she was under the blanket. Where would a fly come from? She involuntarily reached down and scratched herself. There was nothing even remotely resembling a crawling bug on her skin. It seemed to go away. But it came right back up somewhere else, somewhere near my lower back. I twisted around while lying on my back. The tickling stopped on my lower back, but started on my chest, then crawled up my legs again. And the sensation was so clear that the woman jumped out of bed in horror and turned on the light. The disgruntled husband, grumbling in his sleep, pulled the blanket over his head. And Ella Arkadievna, jumping up to a large mirror, began to carefully examine her body. But no matter how much she peered into every mole and pimple, she did not notice anything suspicious. And as soon as I got into bed, the tickling invisible bugs ran all over my body again. Not to say that the sensations were unpleasant. But the unknown nature of their appearance was frightening. Ella Arkadievna spent the rest of the night in bed, scratching herself every now and then. In the morning the strange tickling somehow imperceptibly stopped by itself. In the afternoon, in the festive turmoil, all memories of it disappeared from her mind. Only, as it turned out, not for long. At night, the moving touch on her body once again interrupted her sleep. Anxious woman an hour, stirring sleepy spouse, examining his feet and other parts of the body, which tickling streams were invisible bugs. Nothing. Not even a hint of redness or skin irritation. The mystery remained unsolved until morning. This went on for several days. Or rather, nights. The strange sensations did not bother me during the day. In the end, a disturbed Ella Arkadievna decided to visit a dermatologist right after the New Year vacations. But that was no longer necessary. The nocturnal tickling stopped as suddenly as it had begun. The English teacher slept like a baby the night before the first day of the new year. Sleepy and rested, in high spirits carried the light of knowledge to school. And there was discouraging news. According to preliminary information, a student in the 10th grade of their school committed suicide by throwing himself off the roof of a high-rise building. 10 days ago, on the night of January 1st. The most inconspicuous boy in the class was the one who crashed. Ella Arkadyevna didn't even know who he was when she heard his last name. He had a reputation as a C student. At recess he sat on the sidelines. He was shy and taciturn. In her classes, he hid somewhere in the back rows. Because he was no good at English. The teacher remembered that during her last class at the end of the last year she had ridiculed the embarrassed boy harshly in front of the blackboard for his sloppy pronunciation. Then she suddenly saw such pain and despair in his eyes that she was taken aback. And mentally marveled that the kid had gotten so upset over a mere trifle. Well, that's not why he jumped off the roof, is it? She immediately shrugged herself off. Though an inexplicable feeling of guilt had been gnawing at her heart for a few days now and then. Speaking of her heart. When Ella Arkadyevna began the first post-New Year's lesson in 10B, and opened the class magazine, she did not see the familiar paper heart with the inscription "I love you." She raised her eyebrows in surprise. And even, unnoticed by the class, flipped through all the pages of the magazine. There was no romantic message. Though, according to the list, all the students were present at their desks. No hand-painted, naive floral valentine appeared in the next class, or later in the rest of the class for the rest of the school year. Who that faithful romantic admirer was remained a mystery to the beautiful English teacher. The thought that it could be the silent boy from the back of the classroom, she carefully chased away. But the little hearts of coded paper, painted by someone's amorous hand, still keeps.